All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Why Read episode 34. And today I have two returning guests. I thought this would be a really special way to end 2024, to have two wonderful returning guests here with me, which is Merphy, Library of Merphy. I just noticed your name there. How did I not notice that
I'm coming
before?
for your name, Alan.
There
Why
you go.
not? Why not?
Alan, he's so used to being betrayed at this point.
I want
Nothing
a
phases him
spotlight
anymore.
on his next betrayal video.
There you go. And we have Alan. So
Hello.
hello. This is great. Love it. And we're so happy that you are all here. Thank you so much for being here. I know Dragonsteel is going on. I know everybody's talking about Wind and Truth. Is that the name of the book? I keep getting the name wrong. I feel so
Why?
bad.
I thought you were a Dragonsteel, Merphy.
That would be so much money to fly and get a hotel and all that to go to. No.
Indeed.
I was just on Instagram and watching John from Talking Story, and he was talking to Kyle and Bookborn, and there was Jake Bishop and Ben, and
Pete's there.
they were all talking about like Robin Hobb and meeting Robin Hobb and Sanderson. It just sounds like everybody's having so much fun right now, but we're having fun here.
We're the
on
losers
Why Read.
club that have been left behind and are hanging out because we don't even want to be there.
Be aware that Joanna did not name you, even after I told her that you were there. Note that the one person that Joanna left out was my loyalist. The one person in that list loyal to me is the one you did not name, Pete.
Oh, Pete. Well, you said Pete, so I thought you.
I said
covered him.
Pete. Yes, I know. I was giving you his name to add to your list.
Oh. Well, I'm so happy Pete's there. I just didn't see him in the Talking Story video, but
she's not happy that you're there, Pete.
oh. Actually, he did tell me he was going to be there because I was in a video with him recently. So that's pretty exciting.
So you forgot? That's even worse, Joanna.
This has been a great start.
Goodness, what a great start. Well, okay, let's go ahead and start with the question that we always begin with on Why Read, which is why read?
And both of us have answered this already.
It can be different though. That's the beauty of Why Read, is that the question can change. I mean, the answer can change depending on the season of life you're in, depending on the time of year, whatever. So this is just a question that is not necessarily why you started reading or fell in love with reading, but it's why do you pick up a book when there are so many distractions, when Dragonsteel is going on, or any number of things that are competing for our attention. Library of Merphy, do you want to answer that question? Why read?
Why read? Because it's still my favorite format of entertainment. It's the most immersive thing that I could do to get lost in a different world.
That's beautifully said. Yes. I feel that too. And it's interesting that you say that because I was just talking to my husband today and we were talking about travel because we love to do international travel. But he said that for whatever reason, the majority of people, when you tell them about traveling to places that are like Bali or I guess places that have like temples or interesting, different, exotic architecture, they don't really take that in. They more relate to if you say, "Oh, I went traveling and I saw the forest," or I went to the beach, that they're like, "Oh, that's great," and they want to talk about that because they can relate to that more. Whereas if you tell them about going to Nepal or you tell them about going to, Indonesia, and you talk about these different places that are maybe a little more exotic for where they're from where they are from, they might be a little more resistant or hesitant because it's just not in their comfort zone. And I was thinking, I don't feel like I relate to this because
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, Alan surely doesn't. If you tell him that you went someplace historical, I bet he's like, okay, let's talk about it then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people are definitely on board with those places if it's like the little stand-up huts that are in the water type thing you see on Instagram all the time. Like
I've been to one of those.
Again, it's the beach and crap. Now, like I like the temples and stuff, but the thing is, I'm not I will not travel somewhere that I am not interested in. Like, I am not one of the people like, I need to see the world. I'm like,
I am.
no, I don't care. I'll go to Rome and Italy and Greece and Japan and some other places, but people like, hey, you want to go to Morocco? I'm like, not particularly. Like
Do
what do I
people
know
ask
about
you that a
Morocco?
lot?
I know almost nothing about Morocco. Like, if I'm not interested in the history of the place, like, I don't think
Oh,
that
how
it's something that
interesting.
I would enjoy. Um, because I don't like traveling. Like, I don't like the physical act of traveling. Like, I hate it. I hate it. Flying is I despise it. Like, I despise air travel, and I don't like car travel either anymore. I used to drive all the time, but now I hate it. So I don't actually enjoy traveling. So it's definitely not journey before destination. Not even kind of. Not even a little bit.
Oh,
So,
on
but that's
brand,
just
that's
me.
the exact
But
opposite.
again, like, when people are like, oh, I went to the, like, I don't know why people come here. Like, I hate when people come to my city, and because they come for the stupid beach. It's like, who cares? It's water and sand. Get out of here.
That's true. That's
Um,
true. When I told you I was coming, you were like, "Why?"
I'm like, why? Why does anyone come here? We have nothing here. There's nothing
I told
interesting.
Joanna when I told Alan I was going, and I told him face to face like this on video. I was like, I'm going to your area, and he was like, "Why?" And I told him
oh,
to go to the beach, and he's like, "There's needles on the beach." Like,
They're all.
instantly went so negative.
oh my goodness. And it's
Don't.
such a tourist area, isn't it? That
Yes, yes. We have
Yeah,
so much
very
traffic
well, I
because
mean, because
people come to the stupid beach.
but yeah, I'm bringing this all back to books too.
right.
I was thinking though that like I enjoy learning about different historic places or even different exotic locations, and I think part of that is because I love reading and I love world building and I love fantasy. So I kind of wondered if that made a difference in the person. But obviously, with Alan, you do have to have some kind of historic context. So does that?
Understand that when reading too, I don't particularly enjoy. This is part of my problem with sci-fi, is it's really hard for me, like, to not have like a baseline. So when it's like a brand new world, and, like, they're not feeding off of my obvious, European Western, or, I mean, it's fine if it's like, Chinese or Japanese inspired, like, that's fine. But when it's like completely like they're making it out of whole cloth, and I'm like, I don't want, that's part of the problem with the dispossessed. I'm like, I don't want this. Like, I don't want to learn all this new stuff. Like, I just don't. It's too much work from the ground up. So it's the same thing. It's like, I don't want to be teleported to places I don't want to go to. The same way with traveling. And I mean, people are like, well, you're just like, okay, then I'm just like, that's fine. I don't care. I, I don't have enough time to read everything. So I'm gonna read, things that I don't know, think I'm gonna like. And every now and then do it well, like Mercy of Gods by Daniel Abraham. Another book that, anyway, was good and also very alien. So I like that a lot.
So why read, Alan?
I mean, what else am I gonna do? It's cheap, I guess. You can't, I mean, if you have any other hobbies, I mean, what can you do? Reading is one of the cheaper hobbies, provided that you don't need every broken binding, subterranean press, and folio edition of everything. If you're okay
That
reading,
you buy what you plan on reading and not
sure. And if you're
20
okay,
books more.
yeah. And if you're okay, reading used books, I mean,
Yes.
Alabreese and, was it Better World Books or whatever? Like, you can get good deals as long as you don't care if they're used.
Yep.
Now, I do not always do that. And that's not really why I read. I mostly read because I have FOMO from BookTube, like from other people, being involved in something. So I'm like,
Really? How's Lies of Locke Lamora going, Alan?
well, I mean, why would I read that? Like, isn't everybody reading that? Isn't Joanna reading that now?
I read it a
No.
long time
Everybody
ago.
is not reading that. You would be a trendsetter. You'd be like, hey, look, this isn't popular anymore, but here I am.
I got 200 pages into it. What do you want from me?
Good. Do you love it?
I mean, I was liking it a lot, and then I stopped reading it because you can blame my friend. I had to read the stupid 3 Body Problem, and that
What's your
upset
friend's
everything.
name?
Ben.
Fenn. I
Yeah.
curse the name of Fenn.
I mean, I curse his name every day. It is my fondest wish that he has to return to office 5 days a week next year. Like, it would
Okay.
be the worst punishment of all time because he wouldn't be able to play video games while he's working. He would have to literally go to the office and do some work like the rest of us. And that's but it's not bad enough to where he'd quit and find another job. It would just be the most inconvenient possible. Like
Well,
without
Three Body
reading.
Problem is also good, so I only half curse his name.
It was good.
I was so surprised you read that, Alan. I saw your wrap up and I was like, you read the 3-Body Problem? When did that happen?
And Dark Forest.
Yeah.
Did you love Dark Forest?
I did, but I had just read Mercy of God, so I was less thrown. And it's not the same, but like I said, it has similar vibe.
They're very similar.
So like the big climax of Dark Forest, it's like it has similar vibes of some stuff from Mercy of God. So I was less like kind of like
Mercy of Gods has similar stuff to Dark Forest.
I mean, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. It's just some similar vibe.
Oh, that's right. You read it too, Merphy. You read Mercy of Gods, right?
I did.
I mean, did you read The Expanse?
No.
So you didn't like Mercy of Gods and didn't read The Expanse? Good for you. That's fine. I'm okay.
I didn't dislike Mercy of Gods. I just wasn't like crazy.
What I don't like is all these people like, but it's not. I wanted The Expanse. Well, it's not like The Expanse. No, it's not. Shut up. Stop.
Oh yeah, that's always annoying.
That's something Tom Orange has said quite a few times on his channel too. He keeps
just kidding. It's not annoying. Love you, Tom.
Sorry.
No, Tom agrees. Mercy of Gods is good. Like that people.
No, he was saying that. Yeah, but I also heard that there was a new novella from Mercy of the Gods from that series.
Yeah, it is. It deals more with the humans than the aliens, so I did not like it as much as Mercy of Gods because the stuff with the aliens I really, really like. But it's good. I mean, it's good.
I agree. The alien stuff was the best part of Mercy of the Gods.
But I have not read The Expanse. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't either?
What?
You haven't either?
Not even one book. Yeah. But people are like, well, I don't like the characters. I'm like, I don't like the characters either. Like, it's literally not even kind of why I like Mercy of Gods. Like the characters, I don't care. Like, they're just lame scientists. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have this.
I hate the main character. I don't care. It's still good.
Yeah. I think a lot of people talk about this with science fiction. I always hear this idea of like science fiction is all about the genre of ideas. And then, so a lot of people dismiss the idea that you need good characters as long as you have a good idea.
I just think the plot's good. I think the story's good. You know, I don't care about David. The only character I liked is probably the most unpleasant character. I like the head of the lab, but he was kind of bad. What?
Of course you do.
I know. I felt so bad, but I did like him. I was like, you know what? Tomas here, you got good ideas. Or whatever his name is.
Joanna, yes, we've had this conversation before, and it's that as well as like a satisfying plot that will also be argued that it's like, oh, sci-fi is more about ideas, so it doesn't really matter if the plot is satisfying.
That's definitely not true. Read The Dispossessed. The Dispossessed has no plot. It is all ideas.
No, but that's what I'm saying is people will
and it has crap characters.
People will excuse poor plot and poor characters because sci-fi is about ideas. And I disagree. I think if you're all about ideas, write a paper. If you're writing a novel, then you do have to deliver on the novel portion.
Tell Ursula K. Le Guin. Send her a message.
I disagree with that with The Dispossessed. I loved The Dispossessed. Maybe it's the exception to the rule, but I do agree with this idea in general that I don't feel like an idea is enough for me. I know we've talked about that before. Yes. Like I feel like I do need more than just good idea. Like you said.
I love a good idea.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get me past 3 stars with just a good idea.
Right.
Ryan, I completely agree. Like 3-Body Problem. Like that's the reason I didn't like the show is
feel free to highlight comments, Ellen, too, if you need to.
They truncate the game in the show. And that was my favorite part of 3-Body Problem. And so the show is not as good as the book and also has the misfortune of having that actress that plays Augie, who is one of the worst actors I've ever seen in my life. Like every scene she is in is worse for her presence. It's terrible. And I'm so happy I found like-minded people in my comments who also hated Augie. She did not need to be there. She's not even a character in the book. Stupid.
I need to read that series.
So funny.
You haven't read 3-Body Problem?
I haven't. No. I was kind of jealous. Sorry, what?
The Remembrance of Earth's Past? Is that the trilogy you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope.
I haven't read Death's End yet, but
I feel
Yeah.
bad too because last year at Christmas, my uncle just came at me across the room and he said, "Have you read The Three Body Problem?" Like he loved the book so much and just went on about the Fermi what paradox. And yeah, I was gonna read it, didn't happen. But then once I know that you read it, Murphy. You read the whole trilogy, and then Alan, I saw that you read the first two books. I'm like, darn it! I think I would have read that with you, but
I had to read it because we were watching the TV show and we watched the first episode and I was like, this is interesting enough to where I think I would like I have the book anyway, so I don't want it spoiled by the show. So let me go ahead and read it. And so I made like Finn had to wait till he came back 2 months later. And then we read it. And then like we started watching. I'm like, this only covers the first 5 books. Like the first 5 episodes.
Oh.
So I'm like, well, I guess I need to read the next book. And so we had to stop at episode 5, and then he came back in November, and then we finished watching it.
So.
I have some starred comments here, so I'm going to go ahead and read these really quickly. So Mitch says, Joanna, what will your next Alan recommended read be?
Mitch is being incendiary on purpose. He's trying to rile me up. You can tell. Mitch gets a comment from Mitch.
I did watch your TBR video, and I think Boudica would be a little too ambitious for me, given the number of series I want to read right now, which, by the way, if you don't know about Boudica, historical fiction series, 700 pages per book. I just don't think I can do it right now.
That depends on what edition you get.
Interesting. But you did mention called The Guns Above.
Yeah, it's about airships and a lady airship captain.
That sounds kind of fun. And it's 350 pages.
It's literally 300 pages per book, and there's 2 of them. It's going to be glorious.
Is it nonfiction?
No. It's just a fun steampunk thing. It's supposed to be a palate cleanser after the slog, the miserable, depressing slog that's going to be Boudica.
Good. You really pitched that well.
Well, Boudica dies at the end, so there you go.
Didn't you just rant about spoilers before we went live?
That is a historical fiction. Like Boudica was a warrior queen who rebelled against.
I've been spoiled for history.
Alan. Look, you can't.
I was gonna read that history book today.
It's not even history. It's historical fiction. And no, you weren't. No, you weren't.
I have it. It's on my end table.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
You did that with something else, I remember.
I will not
like, it was with Augustus. You were like, you can't spoil history, so I'm just gonna I remember you ranting about that.
Spoil it if you're in my class. Like I don't like it when my students spoil stuff that we're not at yet for other people. But I mean on here, like whatever.
But I'll also go ahead and add to this that Alan and I have been recruited to read Glorious Exploits in January with John from Talking Story. And Alan told us that he's going to betray us. He's going to pre-betray us for that buddy read. So have you already read it?
No, it means that I'm going to pre-betray you by not reading it.
Oh,
that's so mean.
Oh, is it? Is it? Like, I don't know. What is appropriate booktube protocol these days? There are no more norms.
What did you do, Joanna?
We have a few hours of footage about that.
Everyone knows what they did too.
Dang it. Well, I'm excited about it. It sounds like a really incredible book, and it's also a Brothers Gwyn recommendation. I saw that they.
I know, Evie. I know. She was trying to say that we were recruited to do it. No. After Evie sent me the book, told John he should read it with me. That Evie's insistence, I think. You're taking away my agency.
I see. Yeah. Well.
What is wrong?
Okay. Well, moving on to the next comment here from Anita. It says, reading with Alan is expensive. Those books are not widely available. Shipping to Canada is expensive, because especially if you live in Canada. So you can't get mad at Anita for betraying you if the books that you want her to read are expensive.
Here's the thing. Anita's going to read them anyway. Like, Anita's just going to complain about how expensive they are. But that's just the problem of not reading books that are widely read. Y'all continue. The baby he's very upset by something. I'll BRB. Okay.
Then I'll move on to this next comment then. So some Okie dude says, have you read the Southern Reach books? Is that the Vandermeer series?
No, yes. I always call the series Area X. It's only one of my favorite series, but yes, I've forgotten the title. It is
Yes. So, I mean, you
Annihilation.
all don't know. I mean, I feel like you've been talking about that series all year, right?
I feel
And
like I never stop talking about it.
yeah. How many times have you read it, by the way? Because I feel like you were gonna reread it a third time
I
recently.
did reread it a third time. Yes, in fact, I did. I actually, what's funny is I went to read it a fourth time recently because I was like, it's been a bit. I could do it again. And I forgot that I loaned out my copy to somebody. And I'm like, well, I guess this is good for me.
My gosh.
And I did it 3 times in a year. I just, every time I read it though, I'm just like, it gets better.
What? How? Wow.
With my memory, really? Is it? I mean,
Oh,
it's like a new
wow.
experience every time.
That's amazing. Do you reread when you reread, do you reread physically or via audio? Do you have a preference
Let's
when it
see.
comes to reading?
I did audio the first time, and then I've done physical the second and third.
Wow. Wow. So you're making it hard for me to resist this series now. I'm like, dang, I feel like I need to know what's up that you want to reread it 4 times.
Yes. So it never gets old. It's just amazing. I love it so much. It's like everything that I love in books, pretty much. And it's super short. And I made Amber Elise read it for one of our
Yeah.
opposites attract things, and she hated it. So
Oh,
whether
wow.
you like it or hate it, there's a live stream with us, being opposites.
That's so perfect. I love that you have that series, by the way. And it leads me to another question that I have for you about that. So before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and highlight a couple more messages here. So thank you so much for the $5. Simon Dinosaur Augustus was amazing. I agree. Oh my gosh, that's like my favorite historical fiction book of all time. If you don't know, hello, Atticus. Is he
That is
angry?
some rockin'
He
hair.
doesn't look angry. He looks happy.
No, he's just in there going.
He
Yeah.
just wants to be the star of the show.
But I'm getting some encouragement here for Boudica. He says it. Simon Dinosaur here says it's only like 4,000 pages. How can you resist when Alan sells it so well? Well, Alan hasn't read it yet,
Yeah.
but
I'm relying on the Brothers Gwynn to have sold it.
I
yeah,
mean, Alan spoiled the end, so I can't.
there you go.
Nice. Guess what? She doesn't end up overthrowing the Romans. Like, there's no one alive who couldn't have predicted that.
I might as well throw away the history
I
book.
mean, you might as
Dang.
well. Child,
Yeah.
not the microphone. Break.
The other question though, I was going to ask you too. Alan brings reinforcements. It's so true. Was how do you all know? Do we know you know where each other's tastes so well that you know that Amber Elise is going to hate the books that you automatically love, and she automatically knows you will hate the. I mean, I don't know how you predict that. Like there has to be
I
some
read it,
crossover in
because
your
we don't even
taste.
watch each other's channel. Like we have to okay it with each other. Like, hey, have you read this? But we just know each other so well. Like how often we talk. That's how often I talk with Amber Elise too. So I just I know her personality, so I know what she's gonna hate. You know what I mean?
It's impressive because I'm like, I mean, you both enjoy some things like Sanderson.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what else, but yeah, manga, obviously, I'm sure.
Mhm.
But I'm always impressed with that. Like, wow, they really target the perfect book that the other person's gonna hate, like, every single time. I feel like I would have a hard time doing that.
Yeah, it's true. But
Yeah.
I feel like I know if I read a book, then I'm like, oh, Joanna would like this because I know Joanna as a person. Do you know what I mean? So that's
Yes,
kind of that's why we're able to pinpoint each other so well.
that's amazing. Yeah. I kinda struggle with that a little bit. I feel like I succeeded with Foster with you
You did.
recently, so
You
I was
did.
happy about that, but sometimes I just don't know. Like, I've told Alan over and over again, as much as I loved Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, I don't think Alan would like it at all. But,
I could see it going either way with him, honestly, but I could definitely see a rant for him just being like, it's just dumb. It just doesn't make sense. It's just everything is always happening.
yeah, I'd be curious. It's a short enough book though, Alan, if you ever
Yes.
wanted to test my theory.
I mean, it's on my list.
Is it really?
I
Oh,
mean, yeah, it's not high priority.
On the list doesn't mean it'll ever actually be read.
That's true, but I mean, it's not like on the I'm never going to read it list like certain books.
Gosh, like Lies of Locke Lamora at this point.
Lamore's right here. It's just I got to get through the other stuff I'm reading.
He at least
So-
began my book.
Like
So-
I said, Three Body Problem got it just knocked everything out of kilter. Three Body Problem and Dark Forest. No, hold on. We're gonna address this right now here in the comments. I need y'all to understand.
It's about
I
time.
want y'all to go back and
5 minutes.
watch Jimmy's stream last night. And
With,
I want
Gavin?
y'all to look at how y'all talk to people who aren't me in the comments. Seriously. And then y'all figure out why I'm so dang grouchy all the time. Just go look at the difference between the way you people in the comments talk about me versus you talk about literally anybody else, and figure out why I'm pissed off all the time.
Yeah, but they do it to get this. Like, it's been 25 minutes. They're starving. They've been waiting for a rant.
Sure. I mean,
I think it's so funny that you're bringing this up because I started the replay of Gavin and Jimmy from Chatting with Nuts last night. And the first comments I see Jimmy bringing up was just Alan ranting about
I don't
about
think
Jimmy's
you'll know what a rant is.
graphics.
I said, hey, why is this? I'm like, this must be an Alan live since it started late. And then I said, no, I do not feel welcome. That's all I said. There's not enough room to rant in the comments.
Oh, you said there were a few
Were the
comments
caps on?
I didn't have the caps on one time last night. Not once.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Not
it's
one
pretty
time
mild
I
then.
had comments on.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe mildly combative.
right.
Okay. I think y'all need to look at causality on that particular thing.
But you were also ranting, I think, about Jimmy's transitions or something.
I did say, okay, saying it was not a rant. I said, you might as well, like, I said, this looks like one of those fade out, fade in PowerPoint transitions. And then my next comment was, why not have the next graphic bounce in? That's all I said. I don't even know the tone that I said it in. I typed it.
I want to say it was all in caps.
It was
The
not
amount of
all in
work-
caps. It was
The
not,
amount
it was
of
not
time
all in
and
caps.
work Jimmy puts into those live streams, and you called it a PowerPoint presentation.
I'm sorry, but the fade in, fade out, like,
Oh,
So
This-
hateful.
every now and then I use a lot of my old PowerPoints are from the Latin teachers that was there before me. And I always mean to change them and I never do. And so every year something bounces in as an animation. And I'm like, I would never do this. This is not my PowerPoint, guys. Let me tell you what my PowerPoint does. Up here, done. Boom, up here, up here, up here. There will be no fade out. There will be no jumping around. My favorite is the twirl in. Like none of that. Up here. That's all it's going to be.
Sometimes
So,
people have too many options.
look, Jimmy can do what he wants. Like I'm not even saying it's bad. I'm just saying, why is this here? Like what? I like this setup on StreamYard right here, and for it to stay like this forever. But Jimmy,
Hey, Joanna,
has,
can you put some
Jimmy
effects
has
in?
improved his production values.
can I
And
what?
I don't
Can
like
you put
things
some
that change.
effects in? Just start doing some random explosions.
You know what? Y'all are ableist. I'm autistic and don't like change, and y'all are making fun of me. Ableist. Every one of y'all. Be ashamed of yourselves.
Every one of us.
I
Seriously.
could do a firework thing. Oh, there you
my
go.
gosh, I hate it. I hate it.
There, that's
Oh,
the
that's
best I could
laughing.
do.
You're harassing me, Joanna, with your flashing lights.
See?
But Alan, you have all types of little bits and fun bits in your videos.
Let's
And those
get
are unlike
down
everybody
to
else's.
business.
I do, but things they've always been there. I didn't change it.
Oh, so it's
And I don't when I edit cut, like I don't like flip the page or whatever. I just like cut something out. And that's fine. That's just because I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that foolishness. I added a whole bunch of those when I made fun of influencers.
I would like to see if Jimmy is hurt that you called it a PowerPoint.
He's not. I've told him before. I told him when he was here. Like I don't. It's not like I don't say it to people to their faces.
No, you just shout it in their comment section for sure.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's not a
Um,
PowerPoint presentation. I'm saying the transition was like one.
Hmm.
Guys, all I have, I work. Whatever. Y'all continue.
Well, I want to thank Evie though in the chat for helping to highlight some of these comments that I might be missing, and I apologize for not keeping up with everything. But I also wanted to thank Max Garfield here. I did announce this on my Discord, and I know Murphy and Alan know about it. But this episode, the reason why it was announced so late and why I was a little bit vague about it was because unfortunately we had to put down my dog yesterday, our dog,
Yeah.
and it was extremely emotional. So I just wasn't sure if I would be in the right headspace for it. But I do really appreciate all the kind words, all the support. Everyone's been so lovely about it. So I do appreciate that from the community because, as I mentioned here before, I lost my cat earlier this year too, and it's just hard, when you lose a pet because I feel
Mhm.
like that is something that is it's such a hard thing to go through, and it's something that I don't know that gets acknowledged widely, but it was really a struggle for us. It was a hard decision. Um, but I'm really happy to be here today, and I just appreciate you all so much. So thank you so much, Max Garfield. Appreciate it. Ah, see,
Oh,
Jimmy
Jimmy.
comes with the love.
How much do you want to bet his comments will not remain that kind towards me? It won't happen.
He just said you're literally one of his 3 favorite people.
Okay, Joanna. All right. Okay.
You did. It's right
Use
there.
this one
It's still
comment
on the
to
screen.
forgive
Yeah.
everything that comes after this. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much. I really appreciate you all so much for the kind words and support. Gosh, there's so much here. I'm wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll try to highlight every single one of these. But I just am so grateful. That dog Abigail was so special to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been in your life for a long time too. So it was, I mean, Joanna was sending me photos and sharing her stories, and I've never met her, but she was a beautiful dog, beautiful in spirit as well.
Thank you. She was so fun. She would be knocking on the door right now and wanting her
Yeah.
supper, but I'm just grateful that she was part of my life. She just brought forward so many great memories, made us laugh constantly. So thank you all so much. I appreciate it. Yay. So let's see. I need to know Jimmy's specific ranking, like who is first, second, and third.
Gavin's trying to start a
Oh
war.
my goodness.
Wow.
If Alan's not number one, I don't know what. I don't know. What would happen? It just wouldn't be good.
He did just visit Alan.
There you
And
go.
I'm just saying that he's never visited me.
He's
So
never visited me either, and he visited Alan for his birthday.
Hey,
yeah,
guys, guess what?
he
I
did.
have golf in the beach. What do you guys have?
You have needles on your beach.
I mean, that's true.
I may not have a beach, but there are no needles around my house.
Yeah.
Alan just scatters them on his floor when he has guests over.
Don't you live in rural Kentucky?
Yeah.
I promise there are needles somewhere.
You're not wrong.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
We also have trees. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trees are good. Yeah. So what are you all reading right now, if you don't mind me asking?
I have started reading The Air Affair, which is an alternate history England satirical nonsense book, which makes me very happy. The premise is that someone is going, say,
is that Wodehouse? Who is that? Who wrote that? It's not
I can
Wodehouse.
tell you.
I have it. I've just forgotten.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
I would be so curious. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, Alan, because I really think that you would like it.
Jasper Ford.
Okay, Evie.
Yeah, I have.
Yes, Jasper Ford.
People always recommend me him because I like KJ Parker.
I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only a third of the way through, but the premise is someone is going into classic literature, like in Jane Eyre, and lifting people, like kidnapping characters.
I remember this from your TBR now.
Yes. I haven't gotten to the plot yet. I'm a third of the way through, and we haven't begun the plot. We're just doing all establishing stuff. And I love it so much. it's like we've got time travel, we've got gene splicing, we have a pet dodo bird. It's she'll be having a conversation, and then her dad will just pop in and have a conversation with her and then leave, and then time is interrupted, and then the person she's talking to is like, so did your dad show up? You seem a little, something changed just now. You know, it's so chaotic and British and fun. I'm having the best time with it.
Wow, it sounds so it sounds kind of zany, but in the best way possible.
It's very like Hitchhikers, Discworld, like that kind of humor. I love it so much. I mean, it's more structured and contained than Hitchhikers, but it's like it's very intentional and thought out. I love it so much. Oh my goodness.
Yay! Well, I'm so glad you're loving it so far because
Yes.
it sounded kind of risky in some ways, but I love time travel. So, and the whole it sounds like it's doing some meta stuff too with the book.
Yeah. I mean, time travel isn't a huge factor in it, but yes, there's literary references bursting at the seams in every single chapter. It's a blast.
That's cool. Yay! And what about you, Ellen? What are you reading right now? Manga?
Yeah. I don't. Never read manga in my life. Really.
Sure.
I mean, I haven't. I read. I for a brief period of time was reading the One Piece manga, but only after I caught up with the TV show. But I didn't read manga growing up. I was reading 20th Century Boys with Patrick and Sarah, who Sarah promptly forgot that I was part of that, and said it publicly. It was like, yeah, I was reading 20th Century. She's literally talking to me. I was reading 20th Century Boys with Patrick. I'm like, Sarah, we were reading 20. She's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, that's true. That's a true story. Anita was there when it happened.
I'm sure she felt horrible about that.
I'm sure she did.
And he will rub it in.
So I'm reading Grave Empire, which is an arc of Richard Swann's new series. He wrote Justice of Kings, so it's the first one in that new series, which is a sequel trilogy. 200 years after. It's Flintlock fantasy, and I'm hoping to find, as you know, I'm on a, well, maybe you don't, but I've been on a quest to find good Flintlock fantasy because I don't particularly like that Promise of Blood is kind of the poster child for Flintlock fantasy currently, when Guns of the Dawn, The Thousand Names are two books I think that are significantly better than The Promise of Blood. But I guess I don't know why Promise of Blood is so popular comparatively, but
it's not that good, is it? I remember when we read that for shelf space.
It's not really good at all. It's I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Maybe I'm critical, but
I think we were all critical of that book. But Merphy read Guns of the Dawn earlier this year. That was the one by Tchaikovsky.
Mm-hmm. I just finished it
and loved it.
I just finished it.
Give it 5 stars.
Right? I did. Yes, I love that book.
Good. I just finished listening to it on audio again. So
you did? You just did a reread?
I literally finished it 2 days ago.
No way! How was it on reread?
It's good. I didn't love the narrator.
Okay.
I liked the narrator. I think I liked it more on audio, honestly.
I mean, again, that can bring up a different discussion on like do males and females prefer male and female narrators?
Oh,
you know.
Ooh.
So I think
that is interesting.
I think most of the narrators that I have not enjoyed or the ones that I can remember, like I didn't enjoy the Age of Ash, Daniel Abraham narrator, but I don't think it was because she was like a lady, because it didn't have anything to do with her voices, and it had everything to do with she said the sentences, like she spoke with the exact same cadence. Like if you listen to the sample, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So that
repetitive cadence drives me insane.
And
the Robin Hobb narrator.
Yeah. I remember those.
But the Live Ship narrator, I near died. I had to physically read them. I couldn't deal with it.
That's why I haven't read it yet, because it's so long, and I know I won't use the audiobook because I've heard it's really good.
For Guns of the Dawn, I think I didn't like her Northway voice, and I think I liked Northway too much. That it irritated me, but it was good. I noticed it less about halfway through. I just kind of acclimated. But the first half, I was like, there was a lot of Northway in the first half, and so I'm like, stop. I like Northway. But I mean, again,
I stopped paying attention to the words because I can only hear the cadence.
Ew.
And again, some females probably don't like the way men do girl voices. So, you know,
Sometimes.
it's just, I mean, it's just like, it's just weird sometimes with girls doing guy voices, just like it's weird sometimes with guys doing girl voices. So,
Yeah.
but she was fine. She was fine. I did not dislike her. I just think I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed reading it more than I did listening to it.
Yeah.
I still 5 stars. So good.
Yeah, it's a very satisfying story. And I thought the plot of that book, I don't feel like I'm the most plot-driven reader, but I felt like the plot of that book was so satisfying to me, the way it came together.
I would like it to be known that I just looked up Promise of Blood, and I did not like that book either.
It was not good. Yeah.
I read it like years ago when everybody was talking about it, and I was like, someone explain this.
So the prologue of that, I think, is one of the best prologues of many books that I've read. And my theory is that and the first few chapters were workshopped really well, because he's a Sanderson acolyte. Like, he worked with in writing stuff with like Sanderson and stuff. And I really do think it was workshopped, because the difference in quality and like just the tightness of the writing and pace and plotting is really good in the first, and especially in the prologue. And then it falls apart. And I'm like, this feels like something that was really, really, that workshopped really thoroughly and then was released into the wild for the rest of it. And it's just not, it just doesn't have the same, it just feels like two different things. Now, again, I'm willing to be proven wrong. If someone says that's not what happened at all, I'll be like, okay, well then he just wrote the first part of it really well. I didn't like the last part.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. I mean, I remember we talked about it and there were just so many little things that just felt clunky. And
the thing that bothers me the most is that his incredibly Sherlock Holmes detective, smartest man in the world, doesn't solve anything. He stumbles across clues. He doesn't deduce anything, which is just irritating to me. I don't like intelligent characters. I don't like being told someone's smart and not seeing it. That's my personal foible.
Alan, I think you would like the Tainted Cup.
That's all. I have it from NetGalley from 2 years ago.
Have you?
Eventually, because I don't like my NetGalley thing getting messed up.
then that's yeah.
And I liked Foundry Side.
Did you?
I liked Foundry Side.
I didn't finish the series, but I liked Foundry Side.
Same.
Yeah. I never continued. I just only read the first book and I liked it. And I don't know
I
why.
own all 3. I just haven't finished it yet.
One of the most memorable ways that magic was displayed for me, like the way she would touch the ground and then get the whole floor plan, or touch an item and know its entire history. I was just like, I loved that so much.
I thought it was neat. Absolutely.
Yes, it's stuff.
I thought it was done really well. Like, it wasn't over explained.
Yep.
It like, there's the continuum. Sanderson, I think, is probably the most outlined magic systems. And then who do you think has like the most kind of nebulous magic?
I feel like Susanna Clark would be on the list.
But yeah, it's just like really nebulous, unexplained. Like, it just happens kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's explained because it is quasi science, but it's not like over here. It's not like, hey, and Kelsier dropped a coin and pushed off it. And then dropped another coin and then pushed off it.
What's funny is I love Sanderson, but I lean way more towards soft magic systems. If it's just like magic exists and you kind of feel it and move and like it's never explained, it just is. There's something so wondrous about that.
I agree. I love the Mistborn trilogy, and I think it could be improved 30%, 1/3 more enjoyment if all of that like was just, if you just take it out, like just give us hints on how it worked, and we'll just like, it's okay, it's figured out. I'm gonna just assume that he's throwing coins every time, because I'm not assuming that he's just bouncing in the air. He doesn't have hockey or whatever the CP9 people do. Like, he's not jumping in the air. I'm just gonna assume that he's I'm assuming that he's doing that.
I will say,
way more.
He did over explain in Mistborn, and he does less of that.
Does he?
Yeah, that was an early series for him, and it was like, I assume you've forgotten the magic system because 10 paths.
Was Way of Kings early?
Way of Kings, it was, but then it was revised a lot.
The very first thing of Way of Kings with what's his name, Zeth, whatever. That first chapter, it literally feels like the tutorial of a video game, where it's like, and then press up to throw the thing upwards, and then press the button to zoom to where that is.
In
And
Way
I'm
of
just like,
Kings or in Mistborn? I'm sorry.
Way of Kings, the very first chapter. I'm
There-
like, there's a fight in the very first chapter, and I'm just like, can I skip the tutorial? Like, can I know how to play. Like, I've seen this. Can I, can I just skip, please? So
Oh,
I,
you're gonna highlight Simon's comment now, Joanna.
What Alan is saying is 10 times more true for Stormlight. The books are way too long, and over descriptive writing
so
just drives
I'm
me
probably
crazy.
going to read
Just in
Stormlight in
love
2026.
story mode.
Because I mean, I want to read them, but it would be easier if Christina, who has read Way of Kings, was like, Alan, you have to read this. Instead, she's like, it's good. It's just too long, and he's repetitive. And that's what
Yes.
she's like. She's just, it doesn't need to be this long. And I don't love it when I read a book and I'm like, this don't need to be this long. Why is this so long? And that's not just Sanderson. Frickin' I read Malazan, and this is where people argue with me. I'm like, this book don't need to be this long. Like, it just does not need to be this long. We can cut some of this out. You know how I know? Because I've read The God Is Not Willing. That's only 400 and something pages. You hear that, Toll the Hounds?
That book took me forever to read, though. I think we talked about that. Yeah. So speaking of Malazan, by the way, so Merphy, are you reading Toll the Hounds?
I am technically. So here's my problem.
Kaylin is your problem. Just outline it. Keylk.
I have trauma from Malazan. And so I barely begun Till the Hounds. Like, I'm not far enough in to have gotten anywhere. And yet I know what it's going to put me through. And so I keep picking up easier and lighter books instead of Till the Hounds.
It's just going to
put me through anything.
No, it's just going to make you wonder why this book is so long and so boring. That's what's going to make you through. And then you're going to get the last 300 pages.
Is one of the best ones.
That's because everyone is a victim of the perpetual motion machine that is internet commentary. If you read Toll the Hounds without ever having been on the internet, you would not be saying the same crap that people are saying. You just wouldn't. I do not recognize that as fact. But
well, a couple of things. One, I think you're not alone, and I feel like there's actually a section of Malazan readers that are way more high on the first part of the series and not as crazy about the last few books of the series.
That's me.
And that's definitely you. And I think you speak actually for a lot of people that maybe aren't as loud in the fandom, but they are there. I feel like I've come across quite a few of them. And and I'll say for myself, I love all 10 books. However, Toll the Hounds is the one I am the most mixed on. It's certainly not my favorite in the series.
More so than
how do you feel about Animander Rake? Do you like Animander Rake?
He's overrated. He's way overhyped.
Do you love Animander Rake?
No, but I enjoy him.
Okay, well, here's the problem. The last 300 pages of this book are really good.
Okay.
But it don't forgive the first 1,000. It does not forgive the first 1,000 pages. It doesn't. Like, it just doesn't. But everyone's like, oh my gosh. And then they just act like the first 1,000 pages didn't happen.
Do you love Bone Hunters?
Bone Hunters is good. Of course I love Bone Hunters.
Well, I don't know. You're like anti. You're like, oh, the internet, everything they say. And so I'm just like, I don't know. Bone Hunters has kind of unilaterally agreed to be amazing.
That's because Bone Hunters is amazing because a bunch of crap happens in Bone Hunters that's cool. Do you know what happens in Toll the Hounds that's cool? Nothing except the last 300 pages.
You don't like Dead House Gates.
That's not true. That's the Chain of Dogs is one of my favorite things in the whole series.
You just got on the internet about selecting one portion of the book and saying what an amazing story.
No, I don't like Fellison, but I like I don't like Fellison. I don't like Fellison, and you know who else I don't like? Stupid Hebrick or Bauden.
Okay, fair. But like, wait. Okay. I'm not trying to get into spoilers, so I'm trying to think of how to respond to this.
I like 2 of the 3 storylines in Dead House Gates. I do not like 1/3 of the book.
Okay.
That's true. But it's still one of my favorites.
So if anybody likes Toll the Hounds, does that mean that they're just liking it because of the internet?
As if
Yes,
someone
Jimmy.
utters the words, it's the cipher of the series. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because you know where you heard that from? Steven Erickson.
So here's the thing, though. I don't read Steven Erickson interviews. I don't watch Malazan content. I just read the books and talk about him. So
Have you heard that Toll the Hounds is one of the best ones that people love?
yes, I
Then the
have.
desire to be part of the crowd affects human beings. It just does, because we're not
Okay.
robots.
Okay. I mean, fair enough, I guess.
I'm
But
not
I
saying it
also-
affects everyone. I'm saying it does affect people, because you know that it is liked. Therefore, if you do not like it, either one, you're less likely to like it because you're a hipster and you don't like liking things
Oh,
that
that's you.
are popular. No, that is not why I don't like things. Those two things just happen to be true. It is one does not equal the other. Two, you feel bad saying that you don't like it because it's so popular. That's much more common.
That
Or-
that is accurate.
Yeah, or you're like, oh, well, everyone loves it. I love it too. Like, I'm going to overlook its flaws because I want to be part of this. That is not everyone, obviously.
Yeah, I don't feel like I fall prey to that so much, but softening my criticisms because I know it's well loved and I don't want to go to war over a book is something that definitely happens with me.
I understand that too.
I
Look-
think, I mean, I know Jimmy and I have talked about this a lot, like trying to understand the other side of things, even if we feel very strongly like, yeah, this was not a me book. Like, that's actually how I feel about Toll the Hounds. Part of my issue with Toll the Hounds is that I feel like, and this is something you and I talked about a long time ago, Merphy. I feel like that book in particular has such a masculine vibe
Very
that
much.
feels like it was written for someone other than me. Like, I feel like the book was written for somebody like a man who's gone through retirement, grief, this whole life cycle. I don't know, something about the themes felt like it hit for a certain type of reader and like hit really hard and resonated really strongly. And I felt it. I'm like, I could see that working so well for this type of reader, but it doesn't feel like a Joanna book. Like, it doesn't vibe with me in the same way that I can understand it vibing for AP or Philip or some other readers. And not to say, I don't know how to say that because it also sounds like I'm making too much of a generalization by saying that much. But I guess I'm just saying, like, I want to try to be understanding, I guess, as a reviewer, that some people are going to really deeply resonate with this book, even though, yeah, there's something about it that made me feel outside the experience personally.
Sure.
I'm
Look,
curious, Alan, your thoughts on that. Since you've read it, you didn't care for it. Did you
so
feel like
first
there
of
was a
all-
masculine?
First of all, there is an extraordinary, and I don't like the word problematic because I think too many things are too problematic for too many people. But there is a particular scene that normally, and it's complete, and it is completely because of people talking about Fellison. And like, talk about one thing, and yet there is the scene in Dead House Gates that is completely indefensible with coupled with the nonsense that people come bring about Fellison, and yet it gets hand waved. It drives me crazy. It's a bad scene. It's bad. It's not like, yeah, well, no. It's just a terrible scene that doesn't need to be there. It's
In Dead House
wrong.
Gates?
Yeah, you
Or-
said
No,
Dead House Gates. Did you mean Toll the
in
Hounds?
Toll the Hounds?
Oh, yes, I know what scene you're talking about, and we agree
Yes.
about it. We agree it's bad.
Absolutely.
Okay, but to be
absolutely.
fair, there have been more than just. I mean, I haven't read whatever scene you're talking about, but there have been scenes in Malazan that I'm like,
I'm
I
not
don't know why
talking
this is
about
here.
those. I'm not talking about those. Like, it's completely different than everything else. It's like, it's so ludicrously out of place
Oh,
that
I'm
like-
so excited to discuss this with you. when I
Yes,
get to it.
we need to talk about it when you get to it. Because I personally hate that scene so much.
yes, it doesn't even need to be there. It just
Yeah.
feels so. And this is how I felt about one of the Bosch, Elaine, and Copel Broach stories too. I'm like what? Like,
It's
in
like
with
the
the
type of
character.
humor. I mean, it's meant to be humorous, but the humor
it is not.
a lot got lost on me. Like, it didn't land.
And
And was the character that I was
and
like, why,
again,
what are we
guys,
doing? Why is this here?
two other things that you have to keep in mind. One, because I said only to the Hounds and I say it's garbage, I mean in the context of other Malazan books. So I like Steven Erickson and I like Malazan. I've read 1 through 7 at least twice. Some of the other ones, thrice. So I do not like it in the context of Malazan books. I still think it is better than many other things. In addition, the volume of and vitriol of the criticism is directly proportionate to the unearned praise I feel it gets. If people were fine on Toll the Hounds, I wouldn't be talking about how bad Toll the Hounds is. I have to do that because I feel like I have to be a counterweight to the absolute unabashed praise it gets. Like, no one will address my problems with it. They hand wave it. And then again, no one is being hyperbolic. Yeah. So obviously there are people who will. But I'm saying the vast majority like ignore the complaints that I'm talking about. Like, why is this eternal guy being beat up by a literal teenager? That is stupid. That is stupid. That's not that's dumb. And all the reasons that I get do not explain it. Like, they don't. They don't. It's the same reason on why the flip does one character leave the protection of his powerful group in Memories of Ice, and no one can explain it. Like,
we can't get into let's not get into too many details.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. I will say though, Alan, this rant is so relatable. Literally just last night, I brought up a book that is very popular that everybody loves that I was mid on. And I started ranting about it. This was off stream. I started ranting about it. And I've ranted to Amber Elise about this book before. And I was like, it's so dumb. It's not good. And she was like, I know you hate that book. I was like, I don't hate it. And then I'm like, wait a second. I sound like I hate it. But I'm just trying to be the counterbalance.
Oh, I feel this so much. Yeah, I feel this so much. I feel the same way.
I love all of Malazan. Like, I think it is a fantastic series. I just think I do not understand the focus of Toll the Hounds. It is a strange book to me, and I do not get it. I think
I'll be honest, this conversation has me way more excited about Toll the Hounds because now I just want to talk to y'all.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts. I still, even though like I have some mixed feelings about it, like I still love the conversations around it.
Yeah.
Like having some of the conversations that I've had about Toll the Hounds have been some of my favorite book discussions. So it's still like a worthwhile. I'm so glad I read it because I got so much out of talking about it and exploring it, even though I felt like certain parts of it just didn't quite resonate for me. And that scene that Alan's talking about did not land with me whatsoever. I don't understand it either. And I want to thank really quickly, Dave, Marvin, thank you so much. That is so, so kind of you. I'm glad you're here. And I'm just really grateful for the very kind, generous donation. And I also want to thank Simon Dinosaur as well. Again, it's simple. Everything people say on the internet is wrong unless Alan is saying it.
Simon knows.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. That's the only way we can derive any logic.
Everybody's just an annoying commenter unless it's me. Then you should probably listen.
Simon
I'm going to highlight here. I have these starred comments because I apologize. I'm trying to balance all these comments here, but I agree with Philip that hard magic systems in fantasy are like vivisection for me. You can see how it works, but it kills the wonder in it. Oh, so well said. And I wanted to bring up here this comment. Alan just left, but he said, has Alan tried Napoleonic era historical fiction? I believe Guns of the Dawn falls into this camp. That I could be wrong
His
about
Majesty's Dragon is, I've been reading through that, and it's very, like, we're in the middle of the Napoleonic War. It's like very, very much that.
I think that is what Flintlock is, if I'm not mistaken. But I was going to ask you, since you've read it before, would Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell fall into that camp as well, Merphy?
I'm pretty sure. It's been a while, but I mean, there is a war going on, and I'm pretty sure it falls in that time era.
Then yeah, Timerair's on my list. Napoleonic era. So basically, the technology can't go past. I also lump steampunk in here just because there's no good steampunk books either. I'm still waiting for steampunk seminal work. But the technology can't go past like cannons.
I have a recommendation for you if you haven't. Well, I don't know. I don't know if you'd like it or not. Have you read or heard of? Well, you've heard of Perdido Street Station by Mewville.
I own Perdido Street Station.
I wonder if you'd like it. Because I think it has some.
It has bug people. It has like butterfly people.
Weird. That sounds awesome. I want that.
It's really good. I loved it. I just recently finished it.
Really? I know
Yes,
Jimmy really liked it.
I loved it. Yes. I don't know if this is inaccurate to say this, but I feel like it to me reminded me a little bit of if you mixed up Scott Lynch's writing
Okay.
and
Yes.
those descriptive, elaborate settings, descriptions, and a little bit of Erickson's writing and some
Okay.
of the societal themes and interesting characters. But there's also like the plot of the story is one of the most. I'm not the most plot driven reader. I always say that, but I think that the plot of the story is one of the most brilliant plots I've ever read. Like
Well,
the way
good.
that
All
he
right.
plants the seeds, it's incredible. And
I
the
need
it's
to
just
raise it up on
incredible.
the TBR. The problem is that I don't read nearly as much as I used to. And so now when people recommend me a book, I'm like, yeah, maybe in a year I might could get to it.
Yeah, the class stuff. Yeah, okay. So I'm happy to get another recommend to Alan from Jimmy here because I
Jimmy
Jimmy did
already recommended, and
recommend.
I told him it's too weird.
Oh,
It's
too
too
weird.
weird.
I
What?
don't feel like it's too. I mean, there is some weird stuff. It
It's
does
too
feel like it
weird.
has some
It's bug people.
cosmic
There is a
horror.
weird bug
I love
person
cosmic horror.
talking to someone else.
It does. It has these things called man of wars, and they're men of war or man of war, and they're like these bubbling airship things that are like made out of skin, and they're throbbing, and they have these weird dangling tentacles,
Because
and
it's probably based on the jellyfish, Portuguese man of war.
yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
That
but
makes
they're
sense.
like people fly them, and the militia fly them, and it's just wild.
Simon gets me. Too weird. That's a buzzword for me. Like, okay, tell me more.
You should read it. Oh my
can't-
gosh.
Apparently, I need to.
Talk to me
I'll
about
look
it
up
if
right
you
now. I'll
read
put
it.
it on my
Please
TBR.
talk to me because oh my goodness, I loved it
Didn't you just
so
hear
much.
Murphy can get to it in a year? This is my problem with you people. You act like you don't have any time, and then at will, at the drop of a hat, you guys force something into your TBR so you do have time for. So
What are you talking about, Alan? I'm putting it on the TBR. I'm not saying I'm going to read it in January.
You'll read it within 6 months. Guarantee. You want to know why? Because Joanna and Jimmy are going to keep talking about it, and that's how this works.
Well, Jimmy's been talking about it for a while, to be fair.
That's true.
I'm a
When
little
I
later to the
visited
game.
Jimmy, he put the book in my hands and said,
A distinction without a difference. So just wait.
I really wonder if you'd like it though, Alan. I don't feel like it's.
This is really good, T-Baggins.
I feel like it's still grounded. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like it's so out there that you're like it's not like Erickson in the sense that you're thrown in the middle of things and you don't understand what's going on. I feel like you still get enough of a sense of the bigger picture and the bigger themes and
So
bigger.
this is the vibe that I get from China Mayville. It feels too grimy. And by that, what I mean is that like I hate cyberpunk. Like I hate it. I hate
It's
the
not.
vibe. I know it's not. I didn't say it was cyberpunk. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying I don't like the vibe of cyberpunk. Like I don't like the vibe. I don't like the aesthetic. And so I don't like things that are grimy. Like and it seems. And again, I haven't read it, so you can tell me that if it's not grimy and it's not edgy, then maybe I'm wrong. But that is the vibe that I got from looking at the first chapter when I perused in the bookstore before I bought it.
Okay. Well, you might not. I mean, I would recommend just trying out a little bit more and seeing, and then you could always DNF if you don't like it. But I feel like you can get a pretty strong sense right away if it's for you or not.
I mean,
So maybe do a sample chapter and just.
This is a purely academic discussion because I don't have time to pick it up currently.
Okay.
You know what makes me mad about you, Alan, is you say you don't have the time. You people always say you don't have the time.
I want you to tell me when someone has recommended me a book and I've just shoved it right there into my TBR that I don't have. Like, tell me the last time that happened. It doesn't happen. I'm not swayed like you people. You people talk for 3 minutes and you're like, oh, I'm going to order that right now. I'll read that tomorrow.
Sometimes.
If it's short, I do that. If it's long, like I know Perdido Street Station is, then it's like
4 books and Joanna will put it on her TBR.
What?
That's true, actually. She watched my TBR and messaged me. She's like, I would love to join you for this book and this book.
I did. I had some space in my December reading plans, and then I watched Murphy's TBR. I'm like, I kind of want to. I certainly wanted to read one of those books for sure, and actually both of them. So
Kim, who told me to read this book? Who told me to read this book?
Oh, Three Body Problem?
Yes, Kim
Flinch.
is wisely commenting on the fact that I did shove Three Body Problem into my TBR and messed everything up. But no one told me to read it. I read it because I needed to watch a stupid show, and I couldn't watch it without having read the dang book. So, I mean, that's true. I did shove something in there, but not because someone told me to.
I guess Evie wants your attention here.
Evie, like, we literally talked about this as soon as I finished freaking Grave Empire. You're reading Belly of the Bow.
Wait. When did you read House of Open Wounds?
I love the fact that my friends do not watch anything on my channel.
When was the last time you watched one of my videos, Alan?
Listen.
Okay.
I want you to name
You'll
the last
see my thumbnails and then you'll text me, but you won't watch the video.
Is that true?
I do comment. Yeah, I do comment on her thumbnails, but that's because I'm engaging you in person. Would you rather the in-personality?
I'm not mad about it, but you're the one calling me out for not watching your video.
My thumbnails don't say anything. I don't put crap on my thumbnails. Also, like most of the time I talk about it on lives anyway. I finished House of Open Wounds back in October.
Did you love it?
I have notes to make a review. I just haven't done it because I
loved that book.
Oh, wow.
I agree. It's exceptional.
It is. I'm so excited for the third book.
Yes, that's what Evie is talking about.
I know.
But I have to finish Grave Empire, and you're not done with Belly the Bow, Evie. Finish Belly the Bow.
Evie, have you started Days of Shattered Faith?
She's 50%. She stopped because I made her, because I'm like, read with me, please.
What? You're already 50%? It just came out like 2 days ago.
She had the arc, but the end.
You booktubers always getting arcs for everything.
No. The arc was useless. The formatting was so bad it was unreadable. Like Evie apparently powered through it. I couldn't do it. Like I had to wait till it came out because I can't. Like there was no like spaces. There was no indentation. There's no spaces between paragraphs.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
So guys, like I am not a curmudgeon. It's just like y'all need to. When I say things, people tell me that things I say are not true. And the problem is that they are true. And so I'm perpetually gaslit. Like, this is why I am a curmudgeon. Because I'm perpetually told.
I'm not a curmudgeon, but this is why I'm a curmudgeon.
100% true. And it's that way at school, too. Tell these moron children stuff, too. And they don't believe me either.
You should start a segment, Alan Against the World.
Why?
Yep. Oh, that'd be perfect.
What would be its purpose?
Just to air out all the those people have gaslit you lately.
Oh my gosh. I try to do it here and I get gaslit more.
Yeah, but you would be solo, so it wouldn't happen.
I think you succeeded in putting a lot of defeat and blame on me in our betrayal tag. I mean, anybody who watched that tag, you know.
Christina, will you tell these people that I am not like out of my gourd? You're not. Oh, you're not going to tell us.
Christina, tell us about his gourd. Is he out of it?
She's too nice.
You about?
Oh my gosh. That's fine. That's fine. That's what else.
I don't even remember what we were gaslighting him about either.
I don't remember either.
But it was probably our fault.
Yeah, it was good. Sorry, she was showing me something. Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah, I've put so many recommendations. I mean, I think I've counted 18 to 19 books that Alan has recommended.
You got to
that
find a different song to sing, Joanna. Like this song that you're singing right now is out of date. That's like quoting like 2001 statistics for like something for like the census data of the United States in 2024. Like you're right. At one point that was true. Like it was true at a point in time. When was the last time it happened? And that is the more valuable statistic.
Do it in December.
Okay.
Do it in December.
No, hold on. Now, for comparison, when was the last time you read a book that Merphy or Jimmy or Philip recommended to you?
Well, I don't know. I picked up books because they recommend them widely.
Right now and tell you.
Shoot. Dang
because
it.
all three of you talk about the same things on your channel. I'm like, oh, look at that read they did just now.
Well, we were buddy reading Ishiguro books together.
So November then is the answer to my question.
I would like it to be known that I have picked up books recently based off of the recommendation of both Joanna and Alan, and I am free from these bullets that are flying in every direction.
Murphy, do not even try to get out of this firefight.
Why?
What book did you pick up that I recommended you?
Well, you don't recommend me books, but
Exactly. I don't recommend you books either.
the books I picked up based off of watching your channel, Alan. I recently read the Wickwire Watch.
That doesn't count.
What? Why wouldn't it count?
Explain.
I don't know why it doesn't count. That particular one, I don't know why it doesn't count.
That makes
Maybe
no
it does
sense.
count. Maybe it does count. Maybe you did get it from me.
There you go.
did. I specifically did. I remember the big rant about the top hat.
I do like top hats.
And Murphy was going to read Long Price Quartet this year when you were
I know. I
rereading
was
it.
waiting on Alan, and then he never ran the read along.
What you just said cost nothing for you to say.
Alan, I even text you and I said, let me know when you start the read along and I will join you. And you said, how did you even know that I was going to read that book? And I said, because I watched your video.
I mean, sure, but unless like you actually read it along, then it doesn't matter. Okay, let me ask you a question.
I'm like taking something out of my hand and saying you're not holding it.
Your Honor, permission to treat the witness as hostile? Granted, got it. Did you read Long Price Quartet this year? Yes or no? Yes or no? No. Okay, done. Boom, done.
But she would have betrayed you if she had done it.
Prosecution rests, Your Honor.
If you'll run the read along, then I could fall through and then you could be mad at me. It's your fault that you don't have ammo to be mad at me on.
That's most people, Monty.
She would have betrayed you if she had read it without you. If she had read it without your read along.
That's true.
You would have been like, oh, she read it without me.
The first time I read it by myself. No one else read it with me. I've never read Long Price Quartet with anybody.
Dave likes our dynamic. All we're doing is shouting at each other.
Why? Let's talk about books. All I'm saying, I'm just trying to explain the genesis of people calling me grouchy. I wouldn't be grouchy if people wouldn't force me to it.
So true.
Or just gaslighting. It's true.
It's what we do.
The tone of what y'all are saying is literally gaslighting. You are literally implying that I have no basis for my complaints. That's literally what you're doing.
To be fair, I'm a self-admitted gaslighter.
I'm a crazy
with my
person.
friends. I love just
right.
like turning it.
I make things up. I have no grasp on sanity or reality. All of my grievances are specters of an early onset dementia mind. That's fine. That's fine.
So, by the way, Nico's here and he read a book thanks to my recommendation. It went really well. Electric Forest by Tanith Lee. But Alan, I don't think you've ever picked up a book that I've recommended to you before.
I want you to what book did we read in January?
This year?
Yes. I hated it, and you're still talking about
it. The Dispossessed.
Yes. So there, January.
But that's not a book I recommended to you. That was just a book we buddy read.
Do you think I'm the one that decided, you know what I want to read? A book about hippies. Like, that wasn't me.
You decided you wanted to read a book about hippies. You've said it. Well, you didn't say that.
You said, let's read The Dispossessed.
Well, that's true, because you had it on TBR. So I was like, I'll read it.
I did have it. That's true. But you said, let's read the Dispossessed.
I do wonder if you'd like The Word for World is Forest by Le Guin. It's way shorter, and I think it's different. I think it actually works well for fantasy readers. I do want to read more Le Guin. I think you'd have a better chance of liking that one.
Yeah, I'm not throwing.
Brian brought up Stoner. Which of you two read Stoner first?
I mean, I think we read it at the same time.
More or less the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's Jimmy's. We got to give credit where credit's due.
But we both convinced you to read Stoner because we did that chat together, the pacing chat, and that was actually all of us came at you, Merphy.
Yeah.
It was like Alan and Jimmy and me. We were like Stoner, and thank you so much for reading that. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did, of course. We had a big long chat about it.
That was a good discussion. Yeah, back in the good old days, Alan. Well, we could bring those back with Glorious Exploits next month, but
sure,
we're already determined not to do it. So
Sure. I mean, we're reading it. I have it.
I hope. Oh, you already have it? I don't even have it yet.
Yeah, I have it. Evie said
Nico, you read a book based off of my recommendation too. Why aren't you talking
Yeah.
about that in the chat?
He did. He mentioned it. He
Oh.
said he read Annihilation. Sorry, I
I'm
highlighted it
shouting at
really
you.
fast.
Just kidding.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
and Nico
Nico.
read the 4th book. He got an arc for the 4th book, booktubers. And
Oh.
I waited for it to be released, and then I still haven't read it. So I just love that for me.
You haven't read the first book when
No.
everyone else has? That's so messed up.
I know. It's like my most anticipated book of the year. I have it. I haven't read it.
I feel like you deserve that book. Like,
I don't know what's wrong with me, Joanna.
gosh.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Oh, wow. I hope it pays off. I mean,
Yeah, me
dang.
too.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Dave. I love the dynamic between you all. It's hilarious. What's the series Evie was talking about? I want to add it to my TBR. Alan and Merphy, they said they liked the first one.
What book were we talking about earlier?
It was City of
House of Open Moons?
Foundry Side.
Foundry Side? No.
We liked the first one. That's what we're talking about. But that's not what Evie was talking about.
The one that Evie was talking about. It's City of Last Chances is the first book.
Oh.
House of Open Moons is the second book.
We were talking about the second book we like.
Yeah.
Yes, but
They're
Evie
excellent.
brought up Days of Shattered Faith. And then I asked, when did you read House of Open Wounds? Which was the second book, because I already knew Alan had read the first book.
The second one's excellent. It was.
Yes.
I liked it. Not significantly more, but I think I definitely liked it better.
I liked it significantly more.
I mean,
I thought book 1 was very good, but book 2 was brilliant.
Book 2, I mean, it was really good in different ways. It did not have the creepiness of the whatever that neighborhood, the city was that I really liked.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
The character stuff was excellent.
Yes, it was, and I am very much a character reader.
Yeah, I am as well. Hooray for Stoner here in the chat. Are Merphy and Joanna joking of any?
No, he says joining, and no,
Joining.
and it's fine, and I don't care. I don't.
Well,
care.
I told you I am kind of curious about maybe the guns above if I have time.
Wait, what's Greatcoats again? What's the first book called?
I think you read Greatcoats and hated it.
Yeah, I think so too. What's the
I don't
first
think
book
I'll
called?
read that.
Trader's Blade.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
Sure.
I hated elements.
Yes, chapter 21's garbage. I agree. Everyone who likes the series agrees it's garbage. If that character wasn't in the series would be 50% better.
Yeah.
Agree. Everyone agrees.
I do. I'm willing to read book 2 though.
No, Joanna hadn't read past. No, she hadn't read Return of the Crimson Guard.
But do I get like points here because it's almost like the anti-recommendation from you because you kind of scared me off on.
Ask Jimmy what he thought. Ask Jimmy what he thought about Return of the Crimson Guard.
He read it? I didn't know you read it.
No, but his friend did.
Because there's that line. There's a famous line that Alan quotes over and over again that scared me off of that particular book.
It's a dumb line, but it is what it is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's brilliant.
Evie says Days of Shattered Faith may overtake House of Open Wounds.
I know. I know. She said that.
Okay, besties who talk all the time. I just read it just now.
What? The Dispossessed?
No, I've not read The Dispossessed.
Oh, you're talking about Shattered Faith. Yeah. I mean, she that's what she told me before she quit. She just said that exact same comment to you just now.
Gotcha.
So it looks like Simon Dinosaur agrees with me here about thank you so much again, Simon. So generous again. The Joanna with the Le Guin recommendation, Alan will like that more than The Dispossessed 100%. So the word for world is forest. It's a novella. I would actually far more widely recommend that book to most readers over The Dispossessed.
Heck, I'm more likely to read it if it's a novella.
Yeah, it's a novella. It's short. It's excellent. I thought it was excellent. Loved it. Just recently read it. Alan, can we read?
That's not what it's like at all. That's not what it's like at all. What the element of this that everyone keeps missing is that it is never a book that I want to read. People do invite me to buddy reads. That is not my complaint. What I'm saying is it is never like, hey, I have seen this book. let us read this book. Now, I do have people that do, like Evie, Anita, and Pete are my. I mean, they'll read whatever it is. But that is not what it is. Like, that is not what the situation is. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. So yes, people do invite me to buddy reads as afterthoughts many times. But yeah, I don't have time to join a lot of them, mostly because, you know, it's whatever. But it's not quite like that.
No, I actually have that same problem because much like you, I'm sure, I want to be in all the buddy reads. Like when someone asks, hey, you want to read this book with me? I want to say yes, but I can't read every book.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hate reading if I do it that way. So I have to pick the books that I want to read. And it's not, and like everybody else isn't reading the same books that I'm reading. So it is what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah.
Buddy reads The Death of Us All, as I said 3 years ago.
Yeah. Buddy reads like The Death of Us All. Yes, I remember that. I think there was like a gif of you saying that.
Sorry, Nico.
I got an arc of absolution after I already bought it and reviewed it.
Oh, that's funny.
What was I going to say here? Oh yeah. So end of the year reads. So you did a video, Merphy, about books that would be ideal for reading towards the end of the year and gave some different categories.
Mhm.
I really loved that concept. Do you find that you gravitate towards any one of those categories that you mentioned? So long books, holiday romance, cold weather books, anything like that? Are there any particular ones that you particularly gravitate towards?
Probably not. I don't think when I think about end of the year reads, I just think about whatever I feel like reading right now. So I don't really think I have a category. I just really I found that doing a recommendations video and asking my subscribers specifically, what do you want out of this recommendation video, right? And then them giving me categories and then I can recommend from there. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
So I like doing that. But as far as like month to month, I'm not very much of a seasonal reader. As far as, you know, it gets cold outside, so I want to read winter books. It's just whatever I'm in the mood for. I'll go through a sci-fi stint and that'll be pretty much all I read. And then I'm just all of a sudden over sci-fi and then I'm only reading this other category and or reading primarily that. And so for me, it's very much like it's mood reading, but it's structured mood reading. Whatever I'm in the mood for, but I'll still plan it out a month or two in advance.
Yeah, I like that approach personally. Like I've started doing more seasonal TBRs in some ways, but there's still enough room to like mood read my way through my TBR, so to speak. But I liked the concept of that video because it got me thinking about what I like to read towards the end of the year and if there's any sort of pattern or I know a lot of people are thinking about their Goodreads goals, which I don't really care about, but like
Same.
you're trying to finish as many books or whatever. And I know a lot of people are thinking about their best books of the year. Do you feel that at all, Alan? Like, do you feel like you need to? Do you feel any sort of urgency to read certain types of books towards the end of the year?
Or have all your books finished that you have open right now by the end of the year?
That's a good question. Yeah.
I just no, whatever. I'm just trying to make progress through the things that all got pushed back because I couldn't read them earlier. So no, like the time of year literally means nothing to me. Like, and you know, I try to finish books before the beginning of the year. But if I don't, you know, guess what? It gets rolled over and everything else gets pushed back again. I'm still trying to, like, again, reading the stupid 3-Body Problem knocked everything off. I was kind of back on, like, I read a whole bunch of books in June. Like, I read a lot in June, actually. June and November, I read my two best reading months this year. And so I was doing well, and I was on track to kind of read what I had set out to read. And then 3-Body Problem and Dark Forest just blew it up because it's not like I could read them fast. Like, it's slow. Like, it's so slow.
Yes, they're very dense.
And Black Forest is long. Dark Forest is long.
Mm-hmm.
So that just messed everything up, and I haven't caught up yet since.
Death's End even more so. It's one of the most vast books.
Yeah,
I've read.
I saw that it's flipping long.
Did you find the payoff worthwhile?
Personally, yes.
I
I recommended that trilogy to my dad and my brother as well, and my brother also thought it was worth it, and he even read the next book that wasn't even written by the author. It was like written as a fanfic and then canonized.
Wow.
And my dad thought that the ending was super disappointing.
Oh,
He hated it.
Oh, the series, The
Yes.
Death's End. Yeah.
Yes.
I gave them both 3 stars, and that's just because I did not enjoy the experience of reading them. I do not, and again, it's a translated work. It's a
Yeah.
translated work.
Yeah.
So, and it's written.
Ken Liu
I-
translated them. Well, most of them.
The first one. He didn't do the second one.
No, but he did do the third.
Yeah. So he did 1 and 3, but I haven't read that one. So I mean, it's written by a Chinese author, and like books in Japan are not the same as books in China, are not the same as books here. Like they're just not the same. The storytelling stuff is just not the same.
Yeah.
And so that's very obvious. So I didn't enjoy the experience of reading them, but I liked what was happening, and I liked the plot, and I liked what was being said. Like I do, I like that a lot. But when I rate stuff, I'm like, I didn't love reading this book. Like I went back to it because I needed to know what happened, but I'm just like, ugh. I mean, Da Shi is the best part of those books, and stupid Da Shi, I don't think is in the third one, which irritates me, because he's my favorite. Like he's you know what I'm talking about, Merphy the cop.
Yes, I do. I
Yeah,
think
he's my favorite.
he was my
I
dad's
love
favorite.
Da Shi.
He was my dad's favorite too.
Yes, good for Murphy's dad.
Oh yeah, he loved it. He loved it.
And Benny Wong plays him in the show, and I love Benny Wong.
I haven't seen the show.
The show's they split Ming. I think his name's Ming. They split.
Aren't there 2 different versions of the show, by the way?
Yeah, so I'm talking about the new Netflix show. One's Chinese show.
Um,
The Netflix show, they split the main character of 3 Body Problem into 3, and they did not need to, because they could have done. First of all, it doesn't take place in China, so they ain't Chinese. Second, if they needed to split it, they could have split them into 2. The third person is not necessary, and she's bad. Jin, the main one, like she's a Chinese actor, she's amazing. Like she's so good. I love Jin. And then Samuel Tarley playing the snack guru. Like, why can't he be a nanomachine guru and replace Augie? Anyway, the show is okay. The show's okay, but
the same actor, you mean?
What did I say?
You said Samuel Tarley?
I don't know what his name is. Yeah, the guy that played Samuel Tarley.
Interesting.
In Game of Thrones.
and
And then
you did the books first and then the show.
correct. I watched the first episode, and then I went and watched the two books. Read the first 2 books.
Yeah, it's okay. My brother watched the show first, didn't even know it was books, and I told him, I was like, anything made that is half decent is based off of a book. But anyway, I was like, yes, you need to read the books. And so he read the books and loved them. And my dad did the books first and then the show. And they both liked the show pretty well, but my dad was a lot more disappointed in the show.
Yeah, the show, I don't understand the changes that they made. I think they think the game is less interesting than it is, and they're not correct. The game is way interesting.
I can't say the game was a huge highlight to me, to be honest. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Okay. Well,
Different.
looks like I'm wrong again.
That doesn't make you wrong.
No, it just, I mean, I don't know why I liked it. I just did. Mostly because I didn't care about the paper doll that was Wang Ming walking around with no personality whatsoever. Anyway.
I wonder if you'd like the Paper Menagerie short story collection, Alan.
I have read the first 3 stories in that.
Oh yeah, did you like them?
Yeah, they're fine. I don't love short stories as a general rule.
Okay.
Like
I think he was such a talented short story writer.
there will be
I
some
thought
of them. There'll be some of them that I'll really like. Like for example, I've read every KJ Parker short story he's written, and most of them are fine. There are a couple that I'm like, these are really good, but most I've read 100 of them, and most of them are like, it's fine.
That's really how I feel about short stories as well.
That's how I feel.
It's rare for an author, I think, to be exceptional at short form.
Same thing. I felt the same way about Everything's Eventual with Stephen King. I'm like, some of these are good, and then I think there were a couple that I really liked.
I found for the Ken Liu collection that for some reason, all of the short stories in that collection that were written in first person were my favorite.
Hmm.
The ones in third person, for some reason, just they were good, but they weren't as good to me as the ones
like
in
I got sent an arc of something, some short story collection of sci-fi fantasy stuff that's coming out in February. Adrian Tchaikovsky has a story in it, and all the other stuff is science fiction fantasy authors that I don't know, and they're short stories by them. And it's going to be tough because I'm like, I don't know who these people are, and so it's just like no context short stories. I got it because of Tchaikovsky, because it's a Tyrant Philosopher's short story. So it's a short story about City of Last Chances, House of Moons and stuff. So, but I haven't read it. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Tchaikovsky was a good short story writer, even though I've only read Guns of the Dawn by him so far. But I felt like in Guns of the Dawn,
you didn't read City of Last Chances?
I still haven't.
Merphy,
No.
I think you convinced her to read something.
But one thing I did notice about his writing in Guns of the Dawn is I felt like he was a very efficient writer. Like he got through a lot of content in a short, succinct way.
His writing style in Tyrant Philosophers is not even kind of the same. It's completely different. His writing style. It's very.
He can change up his writing style really, really well.
Hey, Merphy, back me up, or maybe if you haven't thought of this, in House of Open Wounds, I got severe among the hospitalers, the ones that work, the hospital workers. I got such a Malazan Marine vibe from them.
Yes, we talked about that while we were reading it too. Yes,
like it feels so
strongly reminiscent, like that. Abercrombie as well. I felt the same. That like unlikely motley crew kind of.
Yeah, and just their back and forth felt like Erickson's thing back and forth. Anyway, I would compare his writing style. His writing style feels much more like Erickson or Parker in Tyrant Philosophers than it does Guns of the Dawn.
I've read 2 novellas by Tchaikovsky, and I think that he is a very good short form writer. I don't remember the first one that I read what it was called, but the other one was Saturation Point, which was a sci-fi.
That's recent. Okay, let me list them. And Put Away Childish Things.
That's the one.
Yeah, I don't know why I remember that.
What
was it?
And Put Away Childish Things and Saturation Point.
Oh, Put Away Childish Things is that's another recent one. Yeah, Ogres is tremendous. I love.
Which one were you saying, Joanna? I couldn't hear you.
What did you say, Joanna?
Oh no, I was saying Cage of Souls was the one I think.
Oh, that's not a novella. Cage of Souls.
Okay.
And I didn't finish it.
It's the book that people like the least of his.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
You even warned me about that when I picked up Cage of Souls. You were like, "Why? Of all the Tchaikovsky books to read, why that one?"
Bad. Ogres.
Oh yeah, because you were mad at me because I didn't pick up Guns of Dawn instead.
Ogres is a really good.
Yeah, I haven't read that one.
Just to answer Monty here, I know that this is by Ray Bradbury, the Illustrated Man. I have that collection. I really want to get to. I've heard phenomenal things about it. So
I've not read that, but I did read Something Wicked This Way Comes. I loved it.
I need to read that one too.
I read Dinosaur Planet in middle school by Ray Bradbury.
What? I want to read
a planet that had dinosaurs on it.
What?
Mm-hmm. I read it when I was in middle school. The book was like bright magenta with a neon green T-Rex on the front.
Why?
I have no idea. It's in my library. I got it at Riff or the book fair or something like that.
Adrian asked, we didn't mention her name.
Merphy. Oh, that's I got the arc of that short story thing because they were talking to Tchaikovsky and said that.
Wait, what am I going to be approached for?
You might be emailed by the publicist of that short story thing, the sci-fi short story thing I was just talking about. Saying,
okay.
Hey, do you want a thing?
I don't take arcs.
Then that's what you would say to them.
I have also Any particular reason for not taking arcs?
Because I buddy read in my Discord. I set up buddy read channels for everything that I read. And so it kind of like ruins the point of making everything into an elective buddy read if I'm getting arcs. So I just wait till release date, even for my most anticipated stuff.
Ah,
I just wait.
that makes sense. Are you good at keeping up with that in your Discord? Like keeping up with your comments and thoughts of books as you're reading?
I've been less good this year because this year has been difficult, but I do at the bare minimum discuss it at the end, but I try. It's something that I try to be diligent about.
I like talking about things at the end. I actually don't enjoy talking to people about books while I read them because people they just go ahead and then they talk about things that I haven't gotten to yet. And it's just like, so I just kind of ignore. Like I have a buddy read for the month in the channel.
No, let him talk.
And I tend not to read the comments as we're going because I find that it affects my enjoyment or something like that. So I read them at the end and I talk about it at the end.
That's why I like doing it on Discord, because we put like chapter 5 and then put it behind spoiler bars. So I can't read other people's thoughts until I'm to that point.
Yeah.
And it's all there. So I can just scroll back and see.
Yeah, but surely in a Discord as large as yours, you have the people who give general comments that they do not believe are spoilers. Be like, oh yeah, oh no, I hear that, but wait till the end. And no one puts
I'm not spoiler sensitive though. So unless somebody says, you know, the main character dies at the end, Alan.
Do you know how here's what that sounds like. Oh, the ending of that book broke me. That's what that sounds like. And
I'm okay with that. That wouldn't bother me.
It would bother me because they're literally saying the main character dies at the end.
No, not necessarily. Just something.
You're right. Not necessarily, but almost with enough frequency. That ending broke me means someone died. It means someone died. Like usually.
But if it's your Discord, then you could just say, hey, I don't like spoilers, even general ones. So everything goes behind spoiler bars.
And I think that when I tell people to do things, that people do them. Like,
yeah.
No, it's okay. Nobody listens to me either.
Like,
it's like Merphy's not actually in charge here.
If I knew the solution to make people do what I wanted them to do, like no one would be hungry. Except people who deserve to starve.
Okay, Alan.
What?
Took a turn.
Well.
It's so funny because like Paul here says, I hate when people do that. My sister-in-law did it recently with a TV show as well, which she justified with it's after where you're at. It's funny because whenever I'm watching a show with Justin, for some reason when I'm reading books, I'm terrible at predicting endings. I'm terrible at it. But when I'm watching a show, I can always predict it. And I'm like, I bet this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And it's gotten to the point where he hates when I do that. He's like, you're just going to spoil it. I'm like, but I don't know. I'm just guessing. He's like, no, you're spoiling it.
Spoilers that bother me are character deaths because I do not believe, I think especially now in the modern culture of fantasy and science fiction, I think that I just don't think that people kill characters. Like it just like they just don't kill characters, especially if it's a series, because you don't want to kill, whatever. And so when a character dies, like when I hear that stuff, it's like, well, like it's spoiled. Let me go on thinking that they're not going to kill him. Like there's no way they're going to kill him, especially, didn't see the body. They're not dead. And so, so character deaths are like the biggest plot points that I always find like really awesome because I don't ever see them coming because,
that's the one spoiler that I'm like,
I don't like it. And, I can generally intuit. Like people think they're being like secret, like, oh man, you're never going to guess that Steve Rogers is really, really Frapton from America. It's like, oh man, thanks, the Riddler. How do I crack that code? Like people are not nearly as
well, then I understand wanting to discuss at the end. That makes sense. If I'm not overwhelmed with life, then I like checking in after every couple of chapters. Like I want to talk about theories. I want to dissect scenes. I want to react in the moment and discuss aggressively everything that I read.
That's fine. It tends to be people who have already read the book. They have read the book before we start to read along. And so they are interested in reading people's thoughts. And then they're like, oh, well, just wait. It's like, please stop. Please stop.
Yes.
Do not say the word, just wait. Please stop.
That is something that frustrates me. If I have an opinion about a character and then someone who's read the whole book is really defensive for that character and pushing back a ton, that I'm like, okay, you're clearly discussing this from the bias of knowing the whole story. Let me react in the moment. Let me have an opinion now.
Well,
That
it's
can
like
get
we're talking to
That
Phil
happens
about,
a lot.
Yeah.
we're talking to Phil about One Piece, Murphy, and I'm like, I don't like Blackbeard. They're like, how do you not like Blackbeard? And I'm like, well, I can't tell you why because
Right.
Philip's not there.
Right.
So, and then they get mad about me not explaining why. It's like, well, you get mad if I spoil it for Philip. Like, I'm going to talk about it, you know, where Philip is, and I'm not going to give more information. Crazy people.
Yeah. When fandoms get big, it gets harder and harder to have discussions like that.
I bet that's hard. I feel like it would be hard. I do want to try to get better at doing what you do, Murphy, in my own Discord. I feel like I sometimes just miss the boat. Like I'm like, I mean to update my thoughts, but I don't know. I just have a hard time with Discord for some reason.
Yeah, I barely have any time to like check in. So I just, you know, I mean, like I do like the thing you're talking about, Murphy, the chapter whatever blog. That's what I did with the book that Evie and Ether are reading that I just finished. I just put everything behind. You know, chapter 5 is what I think. Chapter whatever.
Yeah.
And you had a positive buddy read experience with Jimmy with Remains of the Day, right? Or was that the one you buddy read together?
Jimmy had already read it. I just read it and commented while I was reading it to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you two buddy read some book where you just took it like little chunk by little chunk or something.
That was The Trials of Empire, the third book of Justice of Kings.
Oh, okay.
That one.
And that was a positive experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. Jimmy was like he was like, yeah, okay, I'll read something else because you know Jimmy is juggling multiple books at one time generally.
Yeah, yeah. I like that approach personally too. I think it's a good approach.
The chunk by chunk.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like buddy reading is the main thing that appealed me to BookTube from the start. And in my nearly 10 years that I've been on BookTube, buddy reads has remained my favorite thing about being on BookTube. So kind of formatting my entire Discord around the concept of buddy reads is like the most natural thing that I could do as far as my personal interests go.
Yeah. I think I agree. I mean, I feel like buddy reading can just level up the whole experience of a book.
Hang on, Murphy. I literally, when I finished Guns of the Dawn, the audiobook I started next was Project Hail Mary. I didn't realize that's the book you're talking about.
No, stop. Shut up. That was in our private chat.
Oh, sorry. Well, no one knows what I was referencing. I didn't know it was a secret.
It's okay. It's okay. Did you like it, or have you already?
Literally, I'm on chapter 3 on audio.
Apparently, there's a parade happening right now. Hold on.
In Kentucky, what are y'all celebrating? What could you possibly be celebrating?
Oh,
of
so
course.
weird.
Whoops.
So Catherine, oh my gosh, Alan, I just finished Stoner. That's my favorite. It's like one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah.
Loved it and have so many thoughts and feelings about it. Thanks for always talking up. I talk it up too.
No, Joanna talks up Stoner way more than I do.
That's true. Joanna talks up Stoner a lot. I feel like you talk up Stoner more than anyone else.
She does. She does. I like the back half of Stoner. I really like the back half of Stoner.
But I did love Alan's review of Stoner as well, which I shouted out in my review too.
Hey, can I shout at Gavin for a second? Can you go ahead and highlight his comment real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Gavin, our first conversation was from a buddy read. We read Amari together. I had you on my channel. It was our first time hanging out. That was how we became besties. We have talked ever since then, and I'm so offended that you have forgotten the foundation of our relationship. We're breaking up again. I'm resending you all your stuff in the mail. I don't remember what we broke up over last time, but it's happening again.
Oh my gosh.
I'm done now.
That's hilarious.
Hi, Atticus.
I think you made him happy. Look at that. That's how you know you feel loved, when your friends shout at you on BookTube. Atticus.
I love his hair.
Does he like books yet? Or picture books?
He likes chewing on Where's My Cow.
Oh, is that the Pratchett one? Where's my cow? Both of you might be happy to hear that I've downloaded the ebook and audiobook of Feet of Clay by Pratchett.
Ah!
Yeah.
Did
So
you read
maybe
Men at
I'll
Arms?
get to it. What?
When did you read Men at Arms?
I
That
read
was
it like over a year ago. I told you about it.
Oh, all right. Then never
We
mind.
talked about it.
I forgot.
You're braver than me. I wanted to ask that too, but I was like, maybe we've already talked about it. And
A
I forgot.
long time. Well, it was a long time ago now. I read it with Gregory LaPerche.
Oh,
It's no
great.
longer
I
active
do
on
remember.
BookTube.
I do remember that. I do remember it now.
It was a long time ago. Gosh, like 2022, maybe? I feel like that was a long time ago. I guess that was only 2 years ago. It feels like it was forever ago.
It does feel forever ago.
Yeah. But I do want to get back into it. I'm really, really curious about Feet of Clay. And I know, Alan, I thought that'd make you happy. It made Merphy happy. So,
City Watch. When you get to it, I'll read it with you.
oh,
Not City
oh,
Watch. City.
Where-
What's the book,
where-
Alan? What's your favorite one? What's it called?
yeah.
Night Watch.
Night Watch.
Watchmen. Okay.
I'll read it with you.
6.
Awesome.
It's book 6.
Which one are you on right now? So you read Guards?
I don't remember. It's been so long.
Murphy.
Yeah, we'll figure it
that's
out.
cool.
That'd
Did
be
you
fun.
read Fifth Elephant Murphy? I can't remember if you're on Fifth Elephant or Night
I
Watch.
did read Fifth Elephant.
And
Yes.
Night Watch is the next one.
Yes, because I remember we talked about it because it was my next one.
You told me that it was you were getting a little burned out, and I said,
Yes.
"Well, Night Watch is very different than those first 5."
Yes. So when you get to it, Joanna, I'll read it with you, and that'll be my
Awesome.
re-entry into Discworld.
Sounds great. Yes. Tom, yay, Butcher's Crossing, another John Williams book. So
I
good.
did not enjoy Butcher's Crossing as much as the other 2, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was very. I mean,
Yeah.
it's John Williams. I just don't care about buffalo hunting.
We Buddy read that together. Yeah.
I'm
I thought it
almost-
was pretty I really liked it a lot. It's certainly my least favorite of the 3 John Williams books, but I still really liked it.
Yeah, that it was good.
Yeah.
It had a different narrator, which I didn't like as much.
Oh, did it? Did it have a different narrator? I don't remember that.
A guy named Simon something or other, not Vance.
Evie loved it.
Did Stoner and Augustus, but not Butcher's Crossing.
Yes,
like
we have an Alan Jr. Oh.
Apparently, you're a fake fan. Hey, the nerdy narrative. I've never talked to you before, but I watch your channel. I really like your stuff.
Yay, Leslie. Yeah, Leslie's awesome. She does not only does she do a lot of book reviews, but she also does journaling and has really cool pens that she does shorts
I
on.
love Leslie's pen crap because I love
Oh
a
my
good
gosh.
pen, man.
Yes, you and I love pens. I forgot about that.
Indeed.
Right? Your favorite is the Pilot, right? The Pilot 5.7 or something.
No, I used to. Oh. So my favorite school pen is the Pilot. It's actually now the 1.0 because I just need the big broad strokes. But the pen I use on my own is the Uniball 0.7 or something like that. Uniball 0.5. I don't know. Uniball something.
Ah, you'll have to show me sometime. And I bet you like red pens, huh? For work.
Them for grading papers.
Hi, Christina.
I'm gonna share this thing.
Oh, this pen is really good, but it hasn't had ink in ages. This is
It's our fancy pen.
yeah, this is my fancy pen. It's I forget what it's called, but it's super good. Anyway,
Baron.
Baron Fig. That's right, Baron Fig.
Baron Fig. Oh, it says it on.
Yeah.
Yay.
This is-
And then we all know because of Christina. Oh, there it is. Yeah. That Alan likes the little short pencils for his crossword puzzles.
Oh yeah.
We haven't done this before.
I have one in my drawer over here.
Sorry. I didn't mean this to turn into a planner kind of thing or school supply
I
stuff.
have read Interesting
Okay.
Times. Interesting Times is one of my favorite of the wizard books.
Did you see Tori's? Oh, sorry. Did you see Tori's video on? She was talking about slowing down her reading, and she talked about journaling, and she showed her bullet journal. And I was waiting because she was like, I watched people's videos way more creative than me. Got some tips, and I was like, Joanna, was it Joanna? Because
Aw.
like I'm gonna start journaling because of you. So I was like,
Thank
she got it
you.
from Joanna too.
Thank you. I did see that video. I loved that
It was
video.
really good.
It was a really good video. And it was great. That's neat. I liked it too because I sometimes hear people when they talk about the pressures of like I need to read so many books. Sometimes they frame it in such a way where they put a lot on like BookTube is ruining me because like putting a lot of blame on BookTube almost and I liked that she's like yes there is some pressure I think when you're on this platform to feel like you need to read a lot but it's all on me and I'm going to do something about it and I'm like I liked her attitude about that. I felt like she had a really positive approach to that idea.
Yeah.
Where some people I feel like are just like, booktube is just destroying the way that I read. Like, but
Yeah,
it doesn't have to.
Jimmy and I have talked about that a lot lately. And my perspective on it is that I think people move in and out of hobbies, people move in and out of interests. And I think a lot of times we can move out of an interest, but then stay because of some cost fallacy or because of a community that you've developed or because it's just kind of mentally difficult to realize that you've closed a door on a piece of your life and it's time to walk through a different door. And then people stay too long and then become embittered toward the thing that they once loved and blame that thing when really it's just time to move on. And that's the vibe I get a lot of times where it's like booktube is ruining reading, booktube is. And it's like, I mean, booktube is, it is what you make of it.
Exactly.
Are you sure you shouldn't do a video about the dark side of booktube?
No.
Have y'all heard that Epic Fantasy's dead? I heard that recently. I was thinking about making a video about it.
I want just to be clear
Joanna thinks
here.
Epic Fantasy is dead. She actually feels really strongly about this topic.
I did not say that. Tori and I did kind of start that conversation, but we didn't say Epic Fantasy was dead. We were just commenting that it's not trending in traditional publishing. That was all we were saying.
I don't know
Joanna
why.
specifically is
I don't
coming
know why
out.
publishers don't put out any fantasy for guys. Like, I don't know if y'all heard like fantasies only for girls. I mean,
There was like a recent headline about that, right? Like men aren't reading anymore or something like
no,
that.
Oh my gosh.
it's true. Like, there's only fantasies for girls. There's no books published for men.
That is what a headline was saying recently.
I feel so sorry for the men,
I know.
because
sad.
there aren't authors anymore, like Abercrombie and
Probably because Epic Fantasy's dead.
Probably. That's got to be the reason why.
Anderson.
We cracked the code.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of books for everyone, so I don't know. But,
I know. It's like such a saturated market.
Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from, but I have seen that line too. Yeah, so
Romantasy ain't for the boys.
Hey, bud.
That's really funny.
where's your fantasy for the dudes? Yeah. Yeah, I was
How old is he
crazy.
now, Alan?
And 9 months in a week from tomorrow. He's almost 9 months.
So is he driving yet?
He can't do nothing. He can do nothing.
Ugh,
He has no skill.
lazy baby.
You can't even get on his hands and knees.
Yeah, he doesn't even know. He doesn't even start crawling yet. Doesn't do anything. He doesn't even want to be on his stomach at all. When you put him on his stomach, he rolls back to his back. He's like,
Look at him roll over. Such a good boy.
bye bye.
Thank you, Gavin. That was a fun conversation. Let's see. Oh, wow. I guess we started a conversation about this topic.
Let's do it.
Okay. Do people perceive false expectations from their booktube audience? Do they feel that if they don't read X amount, their viewership will drop?
Well, let me tell you, I used to read like more than 10 books a month because I was a psychopath. And not to take it lightly.
You love reading.
I know, but like
Yeah.
when I say stuff like that, people are like, "Oh, Merphy called everybody that reads as much a psychopath." So anyway, I used to read a bunch, and now I read like 4 or 5 books. Last month I read 3 and 2 short stories. So like I read a lot less now, and it's been great for me. It's been the right pace for me at this point in my life, and I don't believe I've gotten a single comment at all about anyone saying, "Why don't you read as much as you used to? This channel's boring now that you don't read as much." Like people don't care. They just want to hear you talk about books.
Yeah.
It's
That's a good-
self-imposed.
Yeah. I feel that too. Like I actually made a deal with myself when I started my channel that I was not going to apologize about reading only this many books. I only read this many books per month. I was not going to make any statement like I
Yeah.
apologize or
No, you shouldn't.
anything like that because I realized like why? That didn't make any sense. So that's not why I read. I read to enjoy what I read when I can read and do the best I can to talk about it.
But then we have Gavin in the chat who reads literally every book that's ever been published and makes the most engaging vlogs in the world.
He does. I still haven't finished Gavin, your 5-hour one on Fear Street, but I've gotten really far. I'm like 3 hours into that blog, and I actually paused it because I wanted to read one of the books, and I did, and then I went back and listened to his thoughts, and it was fun. But yeah, so I admire that. I admire that skill of people who can read everything that's been published, like Gavin. But I don't think that there's. I think just having passion about what you're reading is most important. I think the other thing too. So I'll say this that one thing I'll say about Alan here is that Alan just unapologetically reads what he wants to read and obviously unapologetically avoids books that everyone else wants him to read. But which is awesome. But he also speaks so beautifully and wonderfully about all the books that he loves, like the KJ Parker video he just did. And then but the other thing that also came to my mind about this topic too was how I remember thinking this back when I think even before I started a channel, or maybe when I started a channel, because I saw you, Murphy, you were reading some series that, like, even to this day, you pick up series that are backlisted,
Yeah.
that are super popular. And it's not a big deal that you didn't get to it right when it was published. It's
Sure.
like, hey, I'm on this journey now. And you all could be excited that I'm on this journey now. So do people really care if you're on top of it, if you're reading things right on the publication date?
No, I'm not reading Wind and Truth right now, and I won't get to it until January. It's like people don't care. Like they don't care.
Good
What?
for you. I said, good for you.
Thank you. But it's like I even said in my TBR, I was like, I know you're gonna expect Wind and Truth to be here. It's not here. I'll get to it, but I'm not gonna get to it yet. And I had tons of comments of people being like, wow, that actually validates me because I can't get to it in December. And I love that you don't feel the pressure. Like people just want to talk books, and it's not like if something's super hyped and I don't read it, it's not like the rest of booktube isn't reading it. There's people to discuss it with, you know. And when I get to it, people are going to want to hear my thoughts if they care about my specific thoughts. So it's like, I don't know, it's not that big of a deal to me.
Yeah, I felt that when I started seeing that you were doing that on your channel, like not putting that pressure on yourself and just reading things when you want to read them. I could feel that. I was like, hey, yeah, nobody has to do everything exactly when. And I think that kind of came across, I want to say back in 2020, there were so many new releases that came out all at once, like Rhythm of War, the second book in the Rage of Dragons series, the R.F. Kuang book, like all these things coming out back to back to back. And I remember like, oh my gosh, I need to be on top of all these releases. That was like right before I started my channel. And then I realized there's really no need to do that.
No, there's
The book will be
not.
there. You know, the book will be there.
The thing with creating content about books is the only way for it to work is for you to actually enjoy reading books. And if you put so much pressure on yourself that it kills that enjoyment, then now we've circled back to the beginning of the conversation where it's like booktube made me, and it's like, no, you're in control of your reading.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with this. I will admit that I do take some satisfaction, and I know you mentioned this in your most recent video, Murphy, like you feel like you've done a better job about trying to prioritize series. And
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I have found that for me, I know a lot of people also blame BookTube about opening up a lot of series at once. For me, I know, I mean, I can understand that. Sometimes you're a kid in a candy store and it's like, I want to start this series and this series, and that's totally understandable. For me personally, though, I do take a certain amount of satisfaction from closing out series.
Yeah.
And so that's something I have tried to emphasize a little bit more on my channel as well.
That's good. That's good. I spent a long time only reading book ones because there were just too many things I was excited about. But I've loved prioritizing series lately.
Yeah, it's easy. The easy thing to do. What do you all think about series though in general? Do you think are you more of like a series reader or more of a standalones reader these days? Because as much as I love series, most of the series I've read, I feel like I have quite a list now of of series I've closed off that I've really enjoyed that have been satisfying. I've been really into standalones this year. I've just gotten so much satisfaction out of picking up a book on a whim that's usually a standalone. And I'm like, man, why aren't there more of these? I mean, granted, a lot of them weren't fantasy specifically, but there's just something so nice about reading standalones sometimes. So I kind of go back and forth in my head. I'm like, am I really in, am I more of a series reader or am I more of a standalones reader? I mean, I don't know. That's just what I'm gravitating more towards these days. But do you all have a preference? And I guess I'll ask Alan this question first because obviously you've been on this huge KJ Parker pick. Yeah.
I mean, he's got 5 standalones, and I've read them. I'm in his trilogies now. So I mean, I don't read a lot of standalones because there aren't a lot of fantasy standalones. So yeah, I mean, I would like to. I miss the days before booktube where I just finished one book in a series and then picked up the next book in the series. That's how I used to do Malazan. I just picked the next one, not this one book every other whatever. But yeah, I mean, there aren't a lot of fantasy standalones to pick up. But I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I just don't like. I guess Glorious Exploits is standalone.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna read standalones, you're probably better off outside the fantasy genre. Like, you know, I read The Wife Stalker last year, which is not a great book, but I liked it because it was stupid, but it read really fast.
I'm reading a stupid book right now that's reading really fast.
What is it?
I'm kind of embarrassed.
Tell us.
I read The Wife Stalker, like, and the book was bright neon pink. Like, it was just like, I am reading this book by Liv Constantine that is bright pink called The Wife Stalker.
That's interesting that you read that.
I loved it. It was very
cool.
stupid. It was very stupid.
Now tell us your guilty book.
I'm reading Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn.
I just ordered that for that.
No way.
For the same reason. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted something that was easy to read I needed something very, very consumable because, you know, going through the loss of my dog, I just felt like I need something entertaining that's just light and not something I don't have to think too hard about.
And spiraling and
I don't know. I guess it's pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, it is a dark topic. It's a dark thriller, but it's also a curiosity piece for me because I know that I've heard about it for so many years and I still have managed not to be spoiled about it. So no spoilers.
It would be unfortunate if you spoiled it right now for me, and I've avoided it all this time.
So anyway, what did you think about? I'm just kidding.
I'm not very far into it, Alan, so I still don't know what's going on.
Well, The Wife Stalker is stupid, but really good. Stupid. So stupid.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Is it well?
It is. Gone Girl is like it's because it made it into a movie. It's like it's like the number one of those.
Yeah, it is.
I'm finding it very entertaining. I will say that it's holding my engagement very well. Very consumable. It was available through my library, so I just picked it up. Yeah. So about series and standalones, I guess, did you want to answer that question, Merphy? Are you more into series, or do you feel like it's just apples, oranges?
I don't think I mind too much. I mean, I love a good standalone, but I don't mind if something's a series or not. I think I like series pretty well because I like stories to continue. But the thing that I've been really drawn to lately is more concise books. Anything that's like 400 pages or less, I'm more drawn to because I think that there is a talent in writing a cohesive, satisfying, full story with full characters in fewer pages. And I think just as far as the craft of writing, I just love experiencing stories in shorter form. That said, I love a long series. You know, like I'm with Dresden, 16 books in, still having a great time, but each one is like a small punch and it does the job each time. And I find that I appreciate that more than something that's very exhaustive each time. Not to say that, I mean, obviously I was just hyping House of Open Wounds and I'm super excited for Days of Shattered Faith. So that's not to knock long books. I'm just finding myself really, really appreciating shorter books lately.
Those aren't long. They're like 500 pages.
They're in the 500 to 600 page mark, but my example was 400 pages and less. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to knock longer books. I know for a fantasy fan, 500 pages is like, that's not long. What are you talking about? But in the real world,
it is
long.
No, I love that you said that too. I remember when my mom and I read Stoner, That's something that she said about Stoner is that it's a very cohesive book, and she said it's very it's very difficult to write a cohesive book, but that's what John Williams managed to do, and it's not a very long book either. So I feel like that's actually a huge accomplishment, and it's something that I greatly appreciate when an author is able to do that in a shorter form fiction.
I
So
agree.
I completely agree with that as well. Yeah, it's something I'm greatly appreciating, like about Ishiguro right now, and a lot of other authors for sure.
Definitely.
Claire Keegan, yeah. All right. Well, I know we are just past the 2-hour mark, and I know you all have children and busy lives. My husband's making dinner. I could hear him in the background. So I just want to go ahead and thank you all. Thank you both so much for joining me for another episode of Why Read to finish off 2024. You two and Jimmy are my 3 favorite people as well. And I just, this was wonderful. So thank you both for being here today.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for having
having
us.
us.
Yay. And thank you all, chat. And Evie, you are, of course, my favorite person too.
As soon as you
Ah,
said that, I
I
was
should
like,
probably
you
not.
shouldn't
I
have
should
said-
probably
you
not say
shouldn't have listed
favoritism
all of your favorite people.
because I'm just going to hurt everybody. So I love you all. You all are wonderful for being here. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day and great rest of your year as far as live shows are concerned. So thank you all and have a good